So why is Kieran McKenna no longer in the running then?
Well, I think it was Chelsea's decision. He was on a final four-man shortlist for the job, but Chelsea yesterday decided that he would not be the next Chelsea head coach. So he was contacted and he was told that Chelsea would not be taking it any further. Now, I think from Chelsea's point of view, they admire and they like and they respect Kieran McKenna and everything he's achieved at Ipswich. But obviously this is a process that they're going through to identify the right man to take over from Maurizio Pochettino. And at this moment in time, they believe that McKenna is not the right man for them.
So which of the three do you think is?
Well, the three who are left are De Zerbi from Brighton, Maresca from Leicester and Frank from Brentford. Now, I think a lot of Chelsea fans, if you ask them to pick one of those three, would go for De Zerbi. And I think De Zerbi has been the outsider. But over the last few days, all the conversations I've had, people have been saying to me at the end of the conversations, don't rule out Roberto De Zerbi. There has been contact with De Zerbi. He's obviously left Brighton. Some compensation still would need to be paid if he was to move to another club. I think it would be around £5 million. I think there's some concerns about the way he left Brighton. Obviously, his relationship with the people above him has not always been harmonious. And also, I think there's some concerns about the size of his backroom staff, which he would want to bring with him to Chelsea. If that can be sorted out, then I think he's got a good chance of becoming the next Chelsea head coach. Maresca also, Chelsea very impressed with him, what he's achieved at Leicester. OK, he's never managed in the Premier League, but the important thing for him is Chelsea say he is somebody who's worked under Pep Guardiola. He plays Pep-style football, possession-style football. Look at Mikel Arteta, for instance. He'd never managed in the Premier League either, but he'd worked under Pep Guardiola. Look what he's achieved at Arsenal. And I also think Maresca would be comfortable working in the structure that Chelsea have set up. Now, also, Maresca has had some issues at Leicester. I think there have been concerns about financial fair play. They've been charged by the Premier League. They've been under a transfer embargo under the EFL. So would he have issues going into Chelsea? Would he have problems with the people above him, the people around him in the structure? I don't think so. Because at Chelsea, he would have an incredible squad. Chelsea believe they have the third best squad in the Premier League. So I don't think he would have any issues complaining about recruitment and moaning about the players and the players he wanted. And the final one, which I find really interesting, is Thomas Frank. Now, some Chelsea supporters are saying, well, look, I mean, what has he actually achieved at Brentford? Has he ever won anything? And also his style of football, is it really the possession style football that we want? Now, I think Thomas Frank is a really impressive character. He's a fantastic coach who's done a fantastic job at Brentford. He's brought them up through the playoffs, established them as a Premier League side. OK, he hasn't won a trophy, but I mean, honestly, do you expect...
One promotion to the Premier League, hasn't he?
Exactly. I mean, do you honestly expect a Brentford head coach to win a trophy? And he's happy working under the structure that is in place at Brentford, which is very similar to the structure they have in place at Chelsea. And he's been very discreet in the media. You know, we haven't been hearing too many stories about Thomas Frank wanting the Chelsea job or wanting to leave. I think he gave a couple of interviews last week and he was very diplomatic and honest. And he said, look, I'm happy at Brentford. I'm not hunting for a new job. But obviously in the future, who knows what could happen.
There's 2 points I want to pick up on there that you just made. Firstly, you said the concern might be that Thomas Frank hasn't won too much. And you would possibly argue that all 3 of them don't have the CV of Maurizio Pochettino. So when we heard last week about it being mutual consent, it actually feels like it might be more mutual than the usual euphemism was actually you've been sacked, that maybe these 3 are happier to work under the structure you spoke about than Maurizio Pochettino was. Yeah,
I think Maurizio Pochettino, it was mutual, the way he left, but it just wasn't working. The fit wasn't right. I think Maurizio Pochettino...
In terms of the relationship above?
In terms of him being happy in the structure. I think what you're seeing with jobs that are available at the moment and what clubs are looking for a head coach. They are moving towards a sort of US model, NFL model, where they've got a general manager, they've got an offensive coach, a defensive coach, a special teams coach, recruitment, analysis. They've got all these people who are heads of department, and they want a head coach who is just going to coach the team and the players he's given and deal with the media. And when he's dealing with the media, they don't want him to say too much at all. They want him to stay on message, stick to the script. And I think managers like Mauricio Pochettino, managers like David Moyes as well, for instance.
More old school managers, right?
All old school, and they are used to doing things a different way. Whereas I think these three head coaches, Chelsea feel that they would fit into the structure that they have built. The other small concern I think Chelsea may have about Thomas Frank is his style of football. I think the other two, Maresca and De Zerbi, is exactly what they're after. They just want control of games, they want control of possession, they want to play like Manchester City. Whereas I think Thomas Frank is more adaptable, his sides play in different ways as well.
When then do we think that Chelsea will pick between the three of them?
Well, I think we should expect a decision this week. I've been told that Chelsea want this sorted out by the start of June. The start of June is next weekend, so I think it will be sorted out this week. I think progress is being made. The shortlist is being whittled down. I think Behdad Eghbali, who's the Chelsea co-owner, who is really kind of in the driving seat at the moment. He's been in London for a long time. I think he was at the FA Cup final on Saturday as well. I think he's due to leave London pretty soon, but I think a decision will be made by the end of the week.